So, some 2NL this afternoon, at least afternoon here in London. Welcome to the stream. So I'm going to stream for a few hours here on Coinpoker, and we are playing 1 cent, 2 cents on 2 tables. I think 2 tables is probably fine for a stream. I don't want to play more than 2. I tried that once, but it became a bit difficult to follow. So I think I'm going to stick to 2 tables for now. Just fired up these tables. I was in the big blind with Queen Jack off, the small blind raised. I called, and then the flop came something like 8-6 deuce. I didn't even have a backdoor flush draw, and the small blind bet pot, so I folded. So this is what happened before I joined the stream. So now we are fully here on 2 tables. I've also started playing on this second table. So yeah, let's see, let's have some fun together. As always, if you have questions, remarks about my terrible play, just feel free to join me. I'm always interested in some company, in hearing thoughts. But let's see, here we have a raise and a 3-bet to 12 big blind, so that's 4x in position as the big blind. That's quite unusual to go so big. Yeah, I've got a bit of a cold, sorry if I sometimes have to clear my voice. What is this? Casino game? No, we don't want that. We want to play this hand with ace-5 offsuit in the small blind. But we can't play it because there is a raise in the cutoff, and I am not going to indulge in that with a hand like ace-5 off. Yeah, let's see, last time when I streamed 50NL actually on Monday this week, we had some controversial talks to say on a hand where I folded a set on the river when I got raised because there was a 4-liner to a straight when the other player could have had an ace, and an ace was all he needed. And I've had people say that villain never has an ace there. I think he often has an ace there, so we were a bit at odds there. You can watch it on my channel. It's the short that I posted 2 days ago. But now we are raising Queen Jack at called. We have an open ender and we have middle pair. I think this is just a check. We could range bet there, but I don't want to do that because it's not really good with the queen, so this is the one hand where I'd prefer not to. And here I am getting bet into, so I'm going to just raise this. I have the second nuts, and the board is quite draw heavy. If he has a king, if he has 2 pair, if he has a flush draw, he will call. And this is not ideal, but on the other hand, it's unlikely that he has queen X because I have a queen. So I have to try to get some money out of him, but I can't go too big because then he might fold out even a hand as strong as a good king, or so. And also he might be counterfeit here if he had king 10 or king 9. So sadly we do not get any action, but this was an interesting pot to start with, not too bad. Like I remember on Friday in my 50NL session, I had an amazing first hour out of the 4 hours, and then after that 1 hour, an hour and a half, it started going downhill, and then I ran super bad after that. But yeah, today is a new day, a new attempt. And yeah, let's see, this is maybe an unusual time of the day to watch live, but I know that this will be recorded anyway, so maybe you'll join me a bit later and you'll watch the replay of this. Either way, welcome. It's great to have you. And let's see, a lot of blind versus blind battles today. Don't know if it's just these tables or the time of the day, but the games are a bit nitty there so far. The guy had king 10 there, so he had the straight. King jack, definitely an open. King jack off, even though, wait, where are we here? Definitely a fold. King 4. Yeah, king jack, I mean, it is 7-handed in theory, but it's only 6-handed. 7-handed it would still be an open, but just about. 6-handed it is an open, but now we're getting 3-bet by this guy in what is essentially the hijack. So early configuration, and also he doesn't start the hand with a full stack, which indicates that he is probably more of a recreational player than what I would expect at 2NL anyway. And here we are getting 3-bet, so here I'm definitely folding. This guy made it quite big, he made it 9 big blinds. And again, we're quite an early configuration here, so I don't want to 4-bet with my ace-king. I don't think it would be a disaster, but especially if it makes it so big, I will call. And then let's see what he does now. If he bets big, this is already for a sign for me to get out of the way, and that's what I'm doing. I mean, at the very best, he has a hand like ace-king as well. We're chopping. Maybe he does this with ace-queen or so, but I think calling here, even though I have a backdoor flush draw with a king, I think would be a mistake. So we're just folding. We missed, and there's no shame in folding if you miss with ace-king. So that is fine. Well, ace-queen followed by ace-king, no, the other way around, I mean. And this is definitely one that I want to 3-bet big blind versus small blind. And he just shoves on me now. I mean, this is not a great thing. Like, yes, we are blind versus blind, but this is indicative of either ace-king or a pocket pair, I would say. Maybe chopping, but I think he just shoved there after my raise, so I think I just have to fold again. I don't want to risk another 90.5 big blinds, and at the very best we can hope to flip. So I don't think he had aces there, and probably no kings either, but if he has queens, jacks, tens, even nines, plus ace-king, then we're just not in the most amazing shape, although it's kind of marginal either way. Now pocket kings, this time doesn't look like we're getting much action. Let's see if at least the big blind joins the party. He does not. So that's the usual thing. I always thought there was more like at Poker Stars when I played the Zoom games. That when I had aces and kings, most of the time I didn't get any action. And by most of the time I mean something like maybe 60 to 70%. And then sometimes I would get a little bit of action and rarely full action. 8-4 suited, I'm going to raise this here. Actually, I made 3 big blinds. I'm going to make it 2.5. And we're getting 3-bet. Okay, well, now we are getting 3-bet left and right, so I'll take that back with 2NL being quite nitty today. It seemed like it, but yeah, the one time when we had a big hand with the kings, we didn't get 3-bet. We didn't even get any action. With ace-king we missed, with ace-queen we got shoved on, and with the stealing attempt we got raised as well. So that's our day so far. Not quite true, we did win 1 pot right at the beginning, but still very early days, and I think I'm okay with this. Here on this table, keep getting playable hands. Now ace-jack suited. Getting cold called. Okay, so normally this is one where we can either bet big or check, and I decide to go big. For a second I thought of overbetting, because on the button GTO terms this would be an overbet, but I changed my mind because I think that 2/3 would pretty much achieve the same there, whether I overbet or go smaller. I think like this is one exploit that I am experimenting with at the moment, is in situations like these where in GTO you would go quite big, but where I think that it just doesn't make much of a difference, I will try to choose a better size with my bluffs. So yes, of course I'm unbalanced then, but on that board with a king queen, I don't know what the third card was, some lower card, if I had had a really big hand there, I would have overbet, because I think, like for example, if I had bottom set, because I think king won't fold to either an overbet or 2/3 or anything else. So that's why I could have gone big there, but because I don't think that a king folds, and even a queen probably doesn't fold, no matter what size I bet, unless I go something like really stupidly big, then it's just better to be unbalanced and bet small with, or smaller with bluffs, and bigger with value. And yes, of course, I would be totally unbalanced, and if someone knows that, then yeah, they can exploit me, but I would trust that most people at 2NL will not notice that. And here I raise 9-7 off. Now this time he calls. Now I can check, I can bet, but with second pair I prefer to check on this board, because there are a lot of hands that do connect and I don't want to bloat the pot. I prefer to let him bet. And why did I even bother betting there pre-flop? Well, because in the previous hand when I had the kings in the same scenario, he just folded. Okay, I'm gonna block this one. There is a chance that he has a 3 or a 4 or pocket 5s or 6s or ace high that he'll call me with. And he does call, and what does he have? Don't know, but we win it. So that was excellent. We made a tiny bit of extra money with our block bet there. King 9 suited is a hand that I want to 3-bet. It's a bit like, it's not from, the raise doesn't come quite from early position, but it's middle position, and I do expect him to not necessarily fold, but king 9 suited is just about good enough. Now on this board it's not amazing, but I will start with a small c-bet. Even 5 big blinds is too big. I'll go 3.5 big blinds. And we get a snap call from him. And now we can go a bit bigger. I'm going to go something like 18 because we still have one overcard and a gut shot. Unfortunately, we're whiffing everything, and he has called quite quickly twice. I don't think I can get him to fold even if I shove here, even though that's an overbet. So I will have to check, and he did have the queen, so he called my 3-bet out of position with queen 8 suited. And then he did win it, but we had that best hand pre-flop, so I'm happy to do that against this guy and then let him call. So I can write a note, called 3-bet out of position with queen 8 suited. So I don't think, yeah, if I shove here, I mean there is a chance that he folds, but with this guy I'm not sure. I mean if he calls queen 8 suited pre-flop, I just think that he will call the river as well. So I get a question, how much bankroll do I start with? Well, that's a good question. I haven't really determined that. So I have $500, or I had $500 in my account when I first opened it, but I've been using it for other things as well. Also, I'm going to play some tournaments. So because of that, I don't really know. I haven't quite decided yet what I want to do with a bankroll challenge. So here, by the way, I'm folding pocket deuces. Also, I have to concentrate on this table here. Definitely going to bet my range in position, even though we are up against 2 players. Now we have an open ender. I think now I do want to check. And the king is a good card for me. I definitely, well, I was going to say I'm going to bet this one. I am now, because he made it quite small, I am going to raise this one up, just in the hope that he folds, and he does fold indeed. So that was one of the few bluffs that I kind of like doing. Yeah, so what kind of bankroll do I have? So I haven't decided yet what my bankroll will be for the challenge. I think I'm going to start with a $10 bankroll, just like to have it, although I don't think, I'm not expecting to lose 5 buy-ins at 2NL, but it's definitely not impossible. So I think I'm going to start with $10 and try to spin that up and see how far we can go just with cash games, and then I will also do some other things like playing tournaments. But yeah, we'll see about that. Dave says Coinpoker looks terrible, isn't it? Well, yes and no. I don't think it looks terrible. I mean, do you mean the actual graphics, or do you mean the games on here, like the player pools? Because the player pool is definitely not like yes, they are terrible in the sense that yeah, they're bad players, worse than on Poker Stars. But I think that's actually a good thing, isn't it? And in terms of graphics, yeah, I mean, I was used to Poker Stars. I played there for a decade, so I do really like the graphic there. But I don't think this one's actually bad. It's just that you have to get used to it. And yeah, Poker Stars is of course really amazing in terms of graphic. That is my favorite one out of all of them. But I think Coinpoker, together with 888 or GG Poker, all of those, they are just behind that. That said, yeah, still I do love Poker Stars, and I think Poker Stars isn't great, but what they do well, very well, is their graphics that are very professional. I've actually just reviewed Poker Stars for Card Player Magazine for their YouTube channel. So if you want to check that out, go on Card Player channel and you can watch that one there and see what I rated it. And I'm going to do the same about Coinpoker probably next week. And I'm just doing a review on 888 poker, so quite busy with these reviews at the moment. Yeah, so he says he means graphics. Yes, so yeah, I just said that. Yeah, graphics is what what I think PokerStars is a little better, but as I said, I think at the end of the day, graphics, yes, are very important because if you don't have the a good graphics, then this can be annoying. But if graphics are fine, and there are other things that are more important. And I just think like the combination of the bonus that you get on Coin Poker with the rake back and the softer player pool just definitely makes up for the graphics that might be slightly worse than on Poker Stars. Okay, 9-6 suited in the big blind. We have someone raising us. I am going to 3-bet this one. And we get a snap call there. So I am definitely going to c-bet this one. I'm going to c-bet it small just for protection. And even if he has an overpair, we still have equity. He snap called, but when I make it so small, he can snap call there with ace high even, but he can also have a pair. So I am going to check this one. No, I'm not intending to put a lot of money into this pot. So we lose to a 5 now. We lose to the backdoor flush draw. And we obviously lose to any pair that's better. So we have a bluff catcher here, nothing else. And the question is, how many bluffs does he have? Does he turn his ace high into a bluff at this point? Or will he just check? And he could have spades. He called pretty quickly earlier. I think this one's close. I'm just gonna call, but it's a very close one. And we do win. So he had just ace high indeed. He just had absolutely nothing there. So, question, does Coinpoker have something similar to Zoom? And what are the pools there? No, there is no Zoom. So that is something that I am going to talk to them about because it might be interesting to um, have that. So unfortunately, there is nothing like that at the moment. But I think it's actually better for most players to play normal tables rather than Zoom anyway. However, I do think that Zoom would be interesting to add, but I think just the player pools in general are just not big enough. And I just looked at 888 Poker this morning for my review, and even their Zoom pool, or then they don't call it Zoom, but the fast forward or whatever they call it, that one was also, the player pool was really small. There were some stakes didn't have any players, others had like 11, 12, 19 players in the pool. So it's hard to get enough players outside of the two big networks. But I think Coin Poker, as I said, just makes up for it with a lot of other things that I find more interesting um, than than the Zoom variant. So yes, this is a bit slower, but you can do a lot better hand reading, you can concentrate better on players. So especially if you're starting out, I would definitely recommend playing normal tables rather than Zoom tables. I play the Zoom tables, well, mainly for convenience, and also then when I started streaming, just because I could get more hands in, but it's actually much better for the development of the game, of my game, to play normal tables. Okay, we are getting raised by the big blind. A7 suited, normally not an amazing hand that I would want to call with, but because he makes it so small, I will call. I have position, I have a suited ace, and had he made it a little bit bigger I would have folded, but for the tiny one, it was just about 3x. And here I don't want to stab this one. I am going to check behind, take my equity, and look at this. Now we have the effective nuts. I mean, we'll lose to 10-7, but I don't think he has that. Unfortunately, I don't think he has much anyway. So the question is, what would he call with here? I'm gonna go fairly small because I just don't think he will call with ace king. Unfortunately, yeah, he just folds when we have the effective nuts. That is disappointing. Yeah. So I think that's why, and I think I probably have to go to play even more ABC than I'm doing, because I'm trying to do it anyway. But for example, earlier in the 3-bet pot, I tried to double barrel with a bluff, and I just really think that at 2NL I probably need to steer clear of bluffs even more. Just play ABC and just go for value, because I just don't think that I can really get people to fold a lot, even though now they just snap folded there, but that was a very scary board, so on that one it was worth it, and I made it like third pot. Okay, here we're gonna call with the pocket fours. Not loving the spot because he checked very quickly. I'm gonna check again, and he checked again. And at this point, I'm just going to block bet this one once again, because I do think we can get called by ace high. And yeah, that's probably what happened. Not sure because I can't see, he didn't show what he had. But we did get a bit of money out of him, and I think if I had made it any bigger, he would probably have folded, because he clearly signaled there that he had nothing. I mean, he snap-checked the flop, snap-checked the turn. Oh, look at this. I would have flopped the nuts. But we have aces here. Yeah, I don't think we would have gotten a lot of action anyway on this one. And let's see if we're getting any action with our aces now. With kings, we didn't get any. Still 3 players who have a chance. Come on, we need a 3-bet by someone. Not snap folds, guys. Oh, come on. No action with kings, no action with aces. What's going on here? Okay, let's see if we can do something with ace-jack suited now. Ace-8 suited, definitely raising on the button. Well, now we're getting all the callers. Although with aces I wouldn't have wanted to be in a multi-way pot necessarily, but oh, what's happening here? And now we are getting, oh, sorry, here I have to see bet. This guy squeezed quite big now. Do we want to call this or not with ace-jack? I'm going to fold. because it is quite a big bet there. And yes, maybe the other players would have called as well, but then it's just such a small SPR, and with a hand like Ace-Jack, yes, it is suited. So if I knew that both of them would have called, then yes, but otherwise no. And this one, I mean, this guy is a bit annoying. Now with his raises, this is a very borderline one, but I am going to call 7-6, and we're completely whiffing it. And he c-bets, and I just have to fold now. So yeah, this was very marginal anyway, but because he's so aggressive and I had position and he only made it 2.5x, I decided to call there. King 9 suited, low jack. I'm going to fold it to an L. At higher stakes, I would definitely raise it because rake would be less of a factor, but here rake is quite a big factor, and so I want to fold this one. No, jack 5 suited, definitely a fold. Yeah, so soon I will be giving away some tickets, some money, credit for Coinpoker. So it definitely makes sense to get a Coinpoker account if you're planning to watch me a bit, because you can get some money. And the thing is, like, the good thing I think for you is that there aren't many competitors. So if I have, like, say a $50 voucher, pretty good chances for you to get it, just saying. King Queen off against a 3-bet. I am going to call it, even though it's kind of marginal. But we flop an open-ender, that is pretty good. He bets. Is there any merit in raising this one? I don't want to. No, I don't want to raise it. He bets half pot. I can try to win this one on the river with a bluff. Ooh, but he now makes it really, really big. And unfortunately, I will have to fold. So it probably does have it here, because like getting 2-1 and only having 16%, so I would have to get that again, and spades are not really out, and I would have to donk, and I mean, it's marginal, because I do think that I could get some money out of him, especially if there's not a spade, but then again, I might already be dead if he does have spades, which I don't think he does. But yeah, that just wouldn't be good. So unfortunately, we had to forfeit this one. Yeah, again, not going super well for us. Whenever we have a hand, we just get folds, and our draws haven't really got in there, but we'll see. Okay, now very similar situation to earlier. I'm just gonna call again. Now it's a different situation. Now I can bet after he skips his bet. He does call. Now we have second pair, so I think now we can just stop betting, because we don't probably achieve a lot, and this is not ideal. And look at this, he now jams. He now jams for into, like, what's that? Jamming 106.5 big blinds into a pot of 8.5. Okay, well, he is very aggressive and he keeps taking my money, but he is a bit on the maniac side of things. Queen 10, we can raise this one up on the cutoff. So Queen 5 off, I'm just going to fold. Yeah, so at 50 NL or maybe even at 25 NL, I would consider limping in the small blind because I can play a wide range of hands. But my problem is that here I just don't think I can do that profitably because I already pay a rake if I limp there, and the rake is just so high that it's hard to overcome it, so that's why I don't think that's a good one to do. Right, here with 3-bet we got called, so we are going to go with our usual range bet in position. We get called, and look at this, we have lots of equity, and when you have lots of equity in a 3-bet pot, you just check behind. And unfortunately we whiffed everything and he overbets. Okay, so easy fold once again. I mean, the good thing is that they do let me know quite early on, or not quite early on, but quite uh, dramatically when they have something, when they really bet super big, so I can just get out of the way. Like here, betting 40 into a pot of 30, I would have bluffed this river. But yeah, maybe I got bluffed there, but I don't really know what kind of bluffs he would really have. Potentially would even have had a bluff that beats my ace high. So yeah, not going super well. And here, 4 deuce suited against a 3x raise. No, thank you. This will be a fold. Okay, king 8 suited. Which looks nice, but definitely not if there's a raise. Okay, yeah, I haven't fallen asleep. I'm just waiting for these hands to finish. There's not too much to say about them. And well, except that I wish that I had ace 4 on such a board here, not on the one that I had earlier. Three deuce off, not exactly the type of hand I would like to play. Y6 against ace queen. Did become an interesting hand in the end. Hey. Yeah, this is a bit the disadvantage of not playing Zoom games. There can be quite a bit of downtime in between having hands and even just having to wait for hands to finish. So here, king 8 suited, again, this is an optional raise in the low jack according to GTO, but not at 2NL, where the rake is so high proportionately. But here it's good to see that we have a limper. We haven't seen a lot of those today, so that's positive to see. I mean, I wasn't even in the low jack, I was in the high jack. Sorry, but yeah. Queen this off, definitely a fold. Okay, king 10 suited, this could be a hand that we might play. Okay, there's a raise and a call, so this is the one chance that I have to, where I do want to squeeze. King 10 suited. Could have called there, but I don't really like king 10 suited in the small blind in a multi-way pot. So everyone folds, so that is great news. Yeah, so the one difference that I've noticed between the 2NL here and the 2NL and Zoom on PokerStars, on PokerStars your 3-bets get through more than here. So there you can 3-bet a bit lighter, whereas here I have the impression that I get called more, which means that it plays more like a normal live poker game, a 1-2 or 1-3, when many players just don't want to fold pre-flop, and that means that the 3-bets have to be more value oriented than bluffs. You can still have some bluffs, but I think I will just reduce the bluffs and I will just fold more. But that's the problem when I'm on stream here, like when I had the ace-4 suited hand, I normally would have folded that at 2NL, but then we are on the stream, I barely get any good hands to play anyway, so I just thought that I wanted to play that one. Right, now we have two potentially playable hands, so definitely raising this one, and here I'm calling. Fortunately, not a great flop for my hand, but he checks, and when he checks there, I am going to go with an overbet strategy now, hoping that he folds, and he does fold. Excellent. Yeah, so if on a king high board he doesn't bet, then I doesn't see bet, then I'm quite confident to overbet the turn, and even if he calls, I would then bet the river big again, because then he probably still doesn't have a king, but more like queens or jacks or so, and then he would probably fold there. Not always, but I would feel confident, but didn't need to get to that point because he already folded on the turn. So come on, Doodle John. I don't have all day. I'm really going to wait for a full minute now. No, thankfully he folded. 3x raise and an easy fold. Ace 9 off. Was gonna say would be very marginal in the cutoff, but definitely an easy fold once Doodle John raises. And here I'm going to fold to Doodle John. Six three off, not exactly the kind of hand I want to open on the button. 10-7 suited, we're too early for that. Ace 6 suited, I'm going to open it now because it's a stream. This is another one of those that's probably very marginal at 2NL. Like in GTO terms, it's fine, but here it's quite marginal. And a flop like this is not too bad. I can go with a very small bet here. One big blind. Getting cold. This is not ideal. But I'm doing this very exploitatively. I'm still going small here. If he has a queen, I don't want to lose him. I don't think I have an amazing hand to go big, but because I went small on 2 streets, I can now go, I mean, what do I want to make this one? Still not huge. I'll make it half pot on this river. And now he finds a fold. So I think here I got some extra money there by betting so small both on the flop and on the turn, because I just think that there wasn't a lot that he could have had, and if I had made it bigger at any point he might have folded there. So I think I got the maximum there, and on the river I bet half pot hoping to get a crying call from a queen, but maybe he just had some draw that he then folded. But that's the thing with draws. You could say, well, then maybe I could have made it bigger on previous streets, on earlier streets, and then he would have called with draws. Well, yes, maybe. Depends what kind of a draw. But I think I just gave him such a good price for like bad draws as well that he might have called with. So that was okay. Definitely think I want to bet that river after I bet small twice and I have top trips, even though the board is dangerous and I don't have an amazing hand despite it looking quite good to top trips, but the kicker just wasn't good. So if he had had an ace, but that's the beauty of it as well. I think I would have heard from him if he had had an ace after I bet so small on both the flop and the turn. I think we would have gotten raised there. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is a very marginal 3-bet with pocket fives, but this is, I think, the guy who called. Might be a different guy, but I've seen him call quite loosely as well. And if, oof, but now we're getting cold 4-bet. Okay, well, getting cold 4-bet is not good. I mean, in GTO you might want to call here, but the thing is calling 16 is not very appealing, even because like with ace king we're flipping and we're losing against aces, kings and queens, so I'm just out of this one. But yeah, I think if the original Razor had called me there with Queen 10, with King Jack, with any of those, that's fine because we have position and we are slightly ahead anyway with a pair, so that would have been okay. But once we get 4-bet, like cold 4-bet even. So cold 4-bets, especially at 2NL, tend to be super, super strong. Like ace, king, and queens are probably the bottom of that range there. Maybe jacks. And to be fair, that's pretty much the GTO for cold 4-betting range anyway. Jack 10 off, early position, way too loose to open. So I'm just going to snap fold it. Yeah, well, the flop wouldn't have been bad, would it? With Jack 10 on Jack 4. Ace 5 suited, the GTO 3 betting hand. I'm not going to 3-bet here though, because the raise was from early position and I don't think I can get him to fold, but no need anyway because the small blind 3-bets and he's 3-bet small, and I think I would have found this flop alright. With middle pair and a backdoor, they both check. And they check it through, so we probably would even have the best hand. Yeah, ace, jack, and king 4. Interesting. So 3-betting with ace, jack there is fine. Ace, jack suited, but make it bigger, buddy. Okay, this is a fold. Yeah, not the most exciting session so far, I must say. Like the 2 or 3 times we had decent hands, we didn't get any sort of action. And now we're not getting any cards, so I hope it'll improve a bit. Eight, 8 deuce off ain't quite what I was hoping for though. And look at this. 8 deuce off on the other table as well. We are getting spoiled at the moment. That's a pot size bet for 41 big blinds on this river. And it's impossible. Look at this. 8 deuce offsuit again. 3 times in a row. 8 deuce offsuit. Oh, this is an upgrade. 9-5 offsuit. Very exciting times. The bad beat jackpot is at $38,100. On Monday it was only at $30,000. So I gained another $8,000 by next Monday. It's probably be like way over 40, 45 maybe even after the weekend. So that's pretty good. Right, Jack 9 suited here. Again, this guy is 3-betting. He did it with Ace Jack suited last time, to be fair. So definitely folding. I was gonna say normally I could consider 3-betting, but I wouldn't have done it because I think Doodle John will call lighter than he should. And that's no good then. And look at this. This guy now c-bets quite big on 663. And Doodle John just doesn't quite rip it in, but almost. I mean, he raises really big. And he calls. Interesting. So we'll probably see an all-in and potentially even a call. He just jams himself now after he bet and then called the turn and then he jams and then this guy now folds. That is interesting. Yeah, I wish I understood what was going on in that hand. I think range C betting is quite a good thing to do at these stakes. Now, Jack 9 suited on the button. Everyone folds. I'm okay with that. Even though I would wish to get a little bit more action. Maybe with Ace Queen now. Doodle John raises an early position, makes it not 3 big blinds, but that doesn't mean much. I am definitely going to 3-bet and isolate my Ace Queen off. I can see him call with a dominated hand, but now this guy cold 4-bets again. He did that earlier to me. That is really, really annoying. And now he's in position and he makes it 3 times my bet. I have to fold once again. There is nothing I can do. But I'm getting a little suspicious there. Twice to cold 4-bet me when I 3-bet, and I only 3-bet like twice in the last 15 minutes. Okay, 10-9 suited is another one that I could 3-bet with, but because I think Doodle John would call too lightly, I am just going to call. Not an amazing flop. We have a couple of backdoors, but not more, not even an overcard. Now, however, we do have a fairly big draw. And definitely going to overbet this one after he skips the c-bet. He's tanking. He's raising us. Okay, he's raising us, but with his draw, I have to call and I will have to bet the river if we hit, which we do not. jams, so easy fold. Yeah, again, not running super well at all. Yeah, 3-bets don't seem to get through here, so we have to do it for value, which is fine, but I try it twice, and both times I got cold 4-bet. And as I said, the only good hands that I've had were ones where everyone just snap folded. Okay, now it's interesting. We have this guy limping here in this spot where in any other platform, in any poker room I've ever played, this wouldn't happen. Because if you are just left of the button, you can't just post. You would have to buy the button. But here on Coinpoker, they have this different rule, which is fine. I mean, you can live with it. It's no better or worse than the other one. It's just unusual. Okay, raising ace 5. Yeah, people either fold to me or they raise me. There's not that much calling going on. Okay, ace 7 suited. I will open this one, but not if there's a raise. I don't want to 3-bet. I definitely don't want to call. And now this guy 3-bets again. So he really does seem quite aggressive. So I will have to think of methods of playing against him. But I still kind of need a hand. But he's cold 4-bet me twice now, and I see that he also 3-bets other players. Ace king, probably no action once again. Yep, no action. No action with aces, no action with kings, no action with ace king. No, we have to fold our big blind on both tables. King queen off. So I am going to 3-bet this one. I can get called by a lot of weaker hands. And if everyone folds, that is welcome in this situation. Here, quite similar. It's worse than king queen, but at least it's suited. And this is a 3-bet in GTO, and we get the folds. So that's why I did it, because I knew this guy looked a bit tighter than some of the other players at the table. And here's our 8-deuce friend again, this time in the suited version. take a note that this guy called 4-bet me twice. Yeah, so it's quite interesting to play without heads-up display. I was so used to always having all the stats, but this is more proper poker. It's good that regs can't just multi-table so much and then just rely on their stats to exploit players. They have to do the legwork themselves, or they have to play. Well, they have three options. They can either play GTO, which I would definitely not recommend at 2NL. They can play a fully exploitative system where they just really pay attention and then exploit players whenever they notice what mistakes they make, or they can do something else, which is to use pool exploits. And pool exploits are just things that, like the 2NL pool, for example, will have tendencies of mistakes that they make, and then you can try to exploit those, but that doesn't mean that always the player you're up against will make those mistakes, but it's just the pool mistake. So, for example, under bluffing the river when they bet big. So you can then just fold bluff catchers in that spot, but of course you might run into some maniac, and if you don't pay attention and if you don't have a HUD, then you don't quite realize that that player is a maniac and you just fold it. So I'm trying to do a bit of a combination between paying attention and playing with pool exploits. Queen 10, we are in the cutoff. Okay, we're only 4 players left now. And this guy, he now 3-bets me. The problem is that I still need some sort of a hand. Queen 10 off is not the hand I want to 4-bet with. So I would just need to look at this now. He's called 4-betting here. But this guy is very aggressive. Let's see what he did this with. Pocket 9s, okay, and he had aces. So, to be fair, he did have a hand here. But still, and you saw how quickly he got it in with pocket 9, so he is a bit on the maniacal side. So let's see if we can flop a set against him. We cannot. And I'm going to check. And I am going to check again. Hopefully see a cheap showdown. And we win. I don't know what he had, but I think we won it, didn't we? Yes, I won it. So that's interesting. He is very aggressive pre-flop, but then post-flop he is not aggressive at all. He just checked it down with maybe he had ace high. Okay, let's try and raise. Oh, this time he calls in the small blind. That is interesting. And now I kind of knew it, that this guy would 3-bet there. I have to fold in this spot. Queen 8 off. I hope we're getting some more players on this table. Only 3 now. And Queen 8 is quite marginal, but I'm happy to fold it. Jack 10. I am going to go with a very light 3-bet in the small blind, because This guy only makes it 2x on the button, and that's usually indicative of a very weak hand. And yep, we do get the fold. So this is one of the exploits that I've noticed that works quite well. And look at this. Now we are getting 3-bet by this guy, but I think if I 4-bet, he could easily shove on me, which I don't want to. I don't want to fold, so this is a chance to just call. And he goes half pot here. I mean, it's very, very marginal. Normally, I think this would be close to a fold, but against this guy, although he was... I am going to fold, actually. I am going to fold, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't even have the 4 of hearts, and if I hit a set, then there's 50% chance that it's a heart, and then if he has a heart, then I will probably lose even more. So it was tempting against this specific guy, because I know he just overvalues stuff and he raises too much. He's too aggressive pre-flop, but then again he wasn't aggressive post-flop. So that I think was quite good to fold there, even though it is annoying because I just can't win a hand. Like, unless I 3-bet pre and take it down, I've just hardly been able to win a hand. Like, just 1 or 2 at showdown. But I'm not hitting very well either. And playing 3-handed, don't exactly know what the rake is 3-handed on the side, but normally it's still not great. So I'd prefer a few more players, but at least I can show you more action here. So I am going to call with King 10. And again, we're just missing, but because he just jacked, we still have the King of Diamonds, so we can go. I am going to go with an overbet, and I get him to fold with that. So at least the King of Diamonds was a good one to have, and it was quite scary for him to call there, and I figured that he probably wouldn't have a big hand. So at least we managed to win one here. Yeah, we would have had a second nut flush draw and a backdoor straight draw. We have another. I haven't seen a single turn, says someone in the chat. Well, yeah, that is true. I haven't really seen. I don't remember. Now it actually did see a turn just now in my hand where the flop went check check and then I bet the turn, and we even saw a river. But yeah, the game is pretty nitty. I think it's probably just the time of day as well. It is early afternoon in Europe. There are probably not many Americans on the site at the moment, so that might explain it. Right, we have pocket sixes in the big blind. The button raises as usual. And I am going to call once again. I think this player can make a lot of mistakes if we hit something. Okay, now I am going to exploitatively bet small, because I think I can get called by a lot of hands. And I think now on this river I want to check, and we win. Yeah, so this is what I have to do against him, because seems to be quite fit or fold in some ways post-flop. Maybe not fit or fold, but quite honest. He doesn't seem to c-bet much. So that is quite good. Quite good to know, I mean. Okay, ace 5. Okay, he now 3-bets me, and I don't like this. And ace-5 is really not a great hand, but I'm still gonna call because he only made it 3 times my bet, and I know that he can have quite weak hands when he 3-bets. He does this a lot. Now he bets small, and we have a pair. Definitely going to call this one. I hope he checks, but he doesn't check. He goes pot now. And when he goes pot, unfortunately, knowing him, I have to fold because we know that he's not very aggressive post-flop. So if he is aggressive, like in this example, it means that I should fold. Yeah, I wish I would have like a proper hand today. Like I have not had. Like I've had aces, kings, and ace king, but I did not get any action. Just everyone folded there. So if I could get something, it would be really appreciated. Okay, so this is this guy now, and I'm going to 3-bet him quite light this time with my ace-8 suited because I know him. And here on this table I have position. So this guy is the same as here, this guy. And now I am going to 3-bet here on this table as well from the small blind. We get a snap call, and look at this flop. This is quite the flop. I am going to check range though. And here we have 2 players that called us. So I'm going to bet, and here I am going to bet big as well now. We still have loads of equity, and we got him to fold. And here this guy still calls, so when he calls again, I will check this. And now on the river, if he checks to me, which he does, now I'm going to bet this one big. Let's see how much. Something like this, and I think he will fold anything that's not a diamond, but he calls with a diamond. Okay, he did have a diamond, he had a 10 there. Okay, well actually we had the best hand on the flop when we bet and he called, but then he just snapped me off on the river. And I figured that he would just fold anything that's not a diamond. There was a good chance that he would have. My bluff only needed to get through 40% or so. So I'm okay with that, but it fits the tone of the day that we can't win many pots. Okay, so I'm just going to call this one in position even though he makes it so small, but I'm happy to play this one in position against a player who makes it so small. Now he bets pot, which I really don't like. That kind of makes me think that he might have something, but definitely have to call here with my middle pair. Now the queen doesn't help me. If anything, it's good for him, but he now sizes down, which is interesting to see. So I am going to call this, but I might turn it into a bluff on the river, depending what he does now. He checks. So the thing is, he could have a 9, but he could have a 9 and he might still call with a 9, or he has a flush draw. So I'm just gonna check this one, and oh, he had nothing. He had ace high. Interesting. Okay. Well, that was weirdly played by him. So he bet pot on the turn, on the flop, and then on the turn, when the queen came, which was in theory a good card for him, he now bet small and just gives up. Like, it's fine to bet small there with a queen, but then you have to follow through on the river. Like, and I don't know if he knows about the concept of showdown value, but if he does, I don't think he was expecting to have much showdown value with the ace there. Pocket sevens. Okay, everyone folds to me. Well, this player might even be a woman, because it says Miss No One or MS No One. So, could be. Okay, we're getting a call on the from the big blind. Going to range bet this board. 33%. I can fold out hands like King 10, even some Ace High maybe, like all sorts of overcards, so that's why it's really good to bet this one. King 9 suited, I'm going to open. Okay, same again, I'm going to range bet this one. This player does seem a bit fit or fold. He does call this time. So I'm going to check this one back now and then see what we can do on the river. I have some showdown value here because you could have a flush draw with like Jack High or so. But he bets now, and when he bets, I can't bluff catch. I don't want to raise. Also, he bets quite big. So, nothing for me to do than to fold. So if you're enjoying this, even though I'm not having a great amount of luck here, then please hit that like button. That would help me. Don't normally like to beg for likes, but it does help these live streams a lot if people are engaged and leave comments or smash the like button or subscribe to this channel. And we are trying to grow this channel after all. King 10 off, low jack is unfortunately a fold, as much as I would love to play it. And same goes for pocket fives in early position. It's just not good enough to raise. So Miss No One, I would like to play against her if it is a she, but not with Jack 8 off and not if there is a small blind call. I would have hit top pair. Miss No One goes 5 into 6.5. Oh, sorry, here I need to fold, forgot about that. And now an overbet and a snap call. That is very interesting. What do we get now? Is this an all-in and a snap call? No, just a small bet and a call. And Jack 10 and King Queen. Interesting. Right, so Miss No One bet the flop and then overbet the turn when the king came, which, yeah, fair enough. But then bluffed the river tiny. Like, what are you gonna fold out? The ace high flush draw, maybe? Like the snap call there from this guy on the turn was also surprising, but he might not even have noticed the size there. He just saw that he had top pair and called. But then, yeah, there aren't many flush draws that don't connect with the board in any other shape or form. So that's why if he has a king or a queen or even an 8, he might call that small bet on the river. So all you get to fold out with that tiny bet as Miss No One is the ace high flush draw, I guess. Because, like, what snap calls the turn to then fold the river? Okay, so if you have any more questions, let me know. Questions about Coinpoker, about me, about the poker scene in general, about this channel, whatever you would like to know, or if you have any criticism about hands I played, just fire. We have plenty of time to engage with those. And just to say again, soon I will be giving away some tickets and free credit on Coinpoker. So I don't know exactly what and when yet, but I do know that I will do that. So I have to check and I'll let you all know. Maybe I'll even do a community post. And then also I'm gonna give away some tickets during my Ask Me Anything sessions on my other channel that's called Live Poker Guide. So if you are into live poker, I highly recommend that you subscribe to that channel and watch my videos there. I give a lot of strategy tips that's very different to this one here. So yeah, I do hope to see you there. Live Poker Guide. Opening ace jack under the gun, getting min clicked by this short stack. The thing is, normally min clicks in online poker don't mean that much, so I would often 4-bet. However, he is so short that if I go like 12 or so and then he jams, then I'm kind of priced in and I don't want that. So that's why in this case I will just take the more passive route. He goes with a third pot. I have some backdoors. I have ace high. It's marginal, but I will call. Now this is a pretty decent card for me. Should I ever donk here exploitatively? I think I will donk small because I think he might still call his ace king or so. Obviously this is not something I should do in GTO terms, but I am gonna bet this one again here, and I'm gonna go something like just under half pot. And if I get jammed on, I'll be in a world of hurt. But he folds, so yeah, that's what I thought. And I don't know if he would have bet the turn, which is why I thought betting donking small there, just exploitatively. So it's not a thing, as I said, it's not a thing in GTO. On that jack there, that's a better card for him than for me. He has the initiative, he has the range advantage, he has everything there. But against a player who clearly isn't GTO player, I don't care about that. I just want to maximize against him. Speaking of maximizing, Miss No One now makes it 5 big blinds pre-flop. I have King Jack offsuit on the button and I shall fold. everyone folded anyway. And she's doing it again, and this time we have a call from the person who earlier snapped her off and with his top pair. So now this guy opened to 2 and this guy min-clicked him. Interesting things going on here. Ace 10 suited. So I sized up now to 3 big blinds, even though it's not really sizing up, but because I know that I have a few weak players now, especially here in the big blind, I consider that I can go a little bit bigger. This is what I do in live poker anyway. Like in earlier positions, I go pretty small with my raises, and then in later positions, I go really big, because that's when you can make the money against weaker players, and there's plenty of them in live poker. There's plenty of them at 2NL on Coinpoker as well, but it's hard to play against them if you just don't make a hand at all. Now pocket nines. Let's see, this is a good one. Okay, this guy raised. I am going to 3-bet my nines. He calls lowish board, and he now bets small. That is interesting. I am going to, I could go either way, but I'm just going to, shall I go? Yeah, I'm raising this because 7s, 8s, 6, 7, and so on can call there. Flush draws, of course. And now he's betting again. Look at this. This is interesting. I'm not going to do this again now. I'm just going to call because he might have a flush draw there. And the king is actually a good card for my range. Let's see what he does. He bets 15. That is so bizarre. I mean, I only have to be good about 17% of the time now, and I think there is enough merge stuff going on there. But I definitely have to call. I do expect to lose sometimes. Okay, so he got there on the flop when he donked and then called. He had nothing, and then he got there on both on the turn and even on the river. So yeah, he had 2 overs and a backdoor here, and then he got his 10, and then unfortunately I paid him off for that, and then he got his king, and I paid him off for that too, but that was quite weird what he did there. Okay, so miss no one. This is just so annoying with the 5 big blinds. Can I do anything with that? Because it is such a big raise, but I am gonna call. She's deep stacked. And this guy, of course, now he squeezes. And she now goes to 40. Okay, so now I'm out. And there's a jam. And she folds. She 4-bet and then folded for only 76 more big blinds. Wow. Not even, I think, because Blankahari was a bit shorter stacked. Ace 4 suited, I'll just fold from early position. Here I'm going to isolate this limper. Queen 7 suited against a min click from this really weak player. I am going to call. And him betting is not great, but I will have to call with my queen. And here I am going to bet again. Can I get him to call? I will go really small here, 2.5x, to get him to call with a weaker hand. And yep, he did muck. Right here, can't do much. I have to check. And he is a passive player. Can he have anything? Can he fold anything? I mean, can he fold an 8 or a jack? Don't really think. I don't know. So I will have to check. And he limped with pocket 10s there. Wow. Okay. Don't think he would have folded 10s on the river, but it's interesting to see that he just limp called with pocket 10s. There are players like that. Okay, pocket queens. I am gonna size up even though I'm early position. And of course now this guy has to call. Normally he always 3 and 4 bets me, but now he calls and him as well. So 3 ways to a flop with an ace and a king on it. Excellent. That's exactly what you want to see when you have pocket queens. And the jack as well, just in case someone has pocket jacks. And I just have to... Oh, I did notice that. Right, so he bets now, he bets half pot. Now I am calling because I do have the chance of winning it somehow. Now there is no point in betting. I don't think I can get him off an ace. Maybe off a king, but I think I'll just call, check, and yeah, he did have the ace there. So maybe the call on the turn, was that a bit too optimistic? I didn't think he was bluffing, but I had position and I had 2 options of winning the hand. First of all, I had a gut shot, and the second one, if well, 3 actually, if a queen comes, but that's only like 4.5% of the queen coming, and the other option would have been to... Okay, I'm going to join this party with my pocket 8s against this party of weaker players. And if the flush had come in, I could have bluffed that river. Okay, so this is the guy who limped with pocket 10s. Now he bets quite big on this board. It's close. It is very close, but he can still have... It can still be something merged despite the big hand that he has. And look at this. And now this is another one of those where I will just bet big because I have a boat and I think he won't bluff, but he will call. If he has a queen, he will call, and he's even... Okay, he seems good to go. Shall I just jam here then? He seems good to go. Well, I'm just gonna go all in. I mean, he's a passive player who's taken such an aggressive line that I just expect him to call. And his ace king! What? What? Wow! How does he have ace king when he does this? I mean, wow. Okay, this is a passive player for you. That's very interesting to see. But it's good. This finally allows me to win a decent pot. And now he's all in for 3 big blinds. Shall I call with Queen Jack? No, I will not call with Queen Jack. And it's good that I didn't. Well, not good because I would have gotten... No, I wouldn't actually. He would have had trips and I would have had 3 pair. But yeah, this was an interesting hand, and I would have thought he is much, much stronger when he raises me there on the turn. And the whole reason why I donked there was because I thought he was quite strong. So again, like the donks, I'm playing technically quite poor poker there with my donk betting here, but I'm doing it with a purpose because I do expect to get the most money with this line. Both times I did it today, and this was true here, and I would never have expected him to do that when he has such a hand. Okay, here we're getting min clicked out of position by Miss No One. I think I'm gonna play this passively now. Having top two pair is pretty sweet. And Miss No One goes with quite a big bet, but we know that Miss No One can have some bluffs, so definitely just calling in this spot. Let's see what Miss No One does. If she checks, I will bet this one. She bets small. Well, 39, 49, it will be just over. I think I want to raise this one. I want to raise this one. She might just fold now if she was on a complete bluff, but if she's on any sort of a draw, she'll call and, well, now let's just get it in. King Jack, okay, interesting. Another one, basically no equity, but no, not true, like a gut shot, but still, a gut shot on the turn is just not that great of a hand. So, yep, this is the way I want to have it. And I am going to make a very loose open with Queen Jack offsuit in the hijack because I wanted to play against the big blind. But we're just getting folds all around. I'm taking that too, and unfortunately he has now left. So both of the players that I wanted to play against have now left, which is absolutely not great news. And 5-6 suited is not a hand I will want to play against a button raise. 9-4 suited. I'm just gonna fold it now. Right, so we have now made our money back, and some was quite hard for a while because we didn't have a good hand at all. But finally we had two hands in a row where we flopped big, or actually in one of them we turned big, and we were up against really, really weak players. So very happy with that. I mean, since this is 2NL, we're still only winning like 50 cents or so. But it's not about that. I mean, I'm not playing all afternoon today to win a lot of money when playing 2NL. And this is to learn, to study, to have fun. Yeah, basically, mainly to learn and to give you guys some action. Speaking of which, I'm thinking of streaming some tournaments as well. Would you guys be interested in that? Please let me know in the comment. Just say, yeah, tournaments, great, or no, don't bother. So I'm not an expert in tournament play, but I sometimes enjoy playing them, and especially here on Coinpoker, what they're doing, which I quite like, is they don't have these super big, long-lasting tournaments. Like they always finish in like 3 to 4 hours, even if they're not the turbos, and that is quite good because they just don't sit there for ages. So if you want to play tournaments, then I would definitely recommend Coinpoker as a site to do that. Like I do like the big field tournaments as well, but think of the Sunday Million on PokerStars where you have to play like depending where you live, but where I live it's like until 4 in the morning or or so, and then if you make the final table or even just like the final 3 or 4 tables, you then have to play again on the next day, and this is just much nicer here. On Coinpoker they end much faster, so they're almost like cash game sessions in that sense, because you don't know exactly when you'll bust, but you know that it can never last way too long, and they have them for all sorts of budgets, all sorts of buy-ins. So I'm thinking of playing some maybe like in the $20 to $50 margin. Here, 7-8 is very, very borderline. I am going to fold this one, and the reason why I'm folding 7-8 suited in the small blind, and look at this flop, yep, that's the punishment for it. But the reason why I fold it is, again, the rake is just so high. If you call here, like a cent or so is gone straight away, and then I'm just not, it's just not that great. And also I'm out of position, and there is a chance with 8 high, an 8 high flush, that you even get flush over flush, and I probably wouldn't be the one with the over. So that was the reason why I thought I folded, and then the flush came with 3 spades when I had 2 of them. But I still think it's not a mistake to fold there. So yes, if you want to be results oriented, in that case it wasn't great, but it's not a mistake in general for sure. So this guy here, Grafen, raises to 2 big blinds whenever he raises, even small blind versus big blind, but he does get the fold. Yeah, so I really do want to play pots against him. Unfortunately, I'm not in the best position because he's to my left. But if I can, I will play like I did earlier with the Queen 7 suited. I chose not to with a King 8 offsuit when I was in the big blind. Could have done it, but King 8 off is just not quite that good. Could be dominated by another king. Queen 7 suited, of course, I could be dominated by another queen, but at least I have the flush potential there. So that was the difference why I did that and I didn't do the other. So we got about another hour or so on the stream. So thanks again for joining. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Starting to have a bit more fun now that I won the 2 hands. Not that I'm too results oriented, and I hope I'm professional enough to just know that long stretches of bad luck can happen. Variance is definitely a thing. However, I do think that it is just more fun to stream when you run good. Although we all know Easty22, the way he streams, and he's probably the unluckiest streamer of all, and I quite enjoy seeing how he gets sucked out time and time again. But we're trying to do a different kind of business, different kind of stream here. Okay, King, Jack, there is a min raise. So I am going to call that one. 10-4 off in the other big blind here on the right. I shall not call. Okay, here we can now call for the 1 big blind. Flop is okay. Middle pair. He now goes pot. Yeah, he should go quite big. I think I will call once here against the unknown. if he bets again, which he does, and he pots it again, I'm out now. Queen 7 against the same player. I'm just gonna fold. Yeah, calling pot there with second pair is probably quite marginal, but I thought because I also had the backdoor, both flush draw and straight draw, that I can maybe call there, but looked like he had a big hand. Queens versus a6 suited, yeah, that guy's not running very good either. The a6 suited. Yeah, so low stakes poker, mainly live but also online, is just about being patient, waiting for really good hands, trying to do some small exploits along the way, but it's less about all the fancy all-in bluffs, but more the fast playing of big hands. Like you saw the two hands that I played with the pocket eights and the ace queen. Once I had a boat and once I had top two pair, and I just fast played them. I even donked there. I didn't need to slow play or wait for anything. Yes, players can be quite nitty, but not all of them are. And if they have something, and funnily enough, in both cases they didn't even have anything there, so that's why if they had had something, then they would have played them even faster. Ten five off, not really a hand I can do much with in the big blind. Yeah, so if you don't have a Coinpoker account yet and would like one, I would definitely recommend doing so. You get a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. So yeah, imagine how much playing money you would have there if you did that, and then on top of that you get 33% rake back on everything, on all the rake that you pay. And the games are a little softer than on some of the other big platforms, so I can definitely recommend it. Also, then you will be able to get some free tickets from me and some more free credit. As I said, I'm going to do that soon. I'm going to do giveaways, and for that you will then need an account anyway, so I would really recommend doing that. And that should be really good for you, so you can just click the link in the description below and then open an account. It's anonymous, you don't even need to verify your ID, only your email, and that's it. Then you will be good to go. You can deposit cryptocurrencies. So that's quite a cool thing to do. So go for it. Ace 5 suited, the GTO 3 betting hand. Let's open it up. Pocket threes. And because there is a call there, I am going to call as well. Three ways to a flop. We flop an under pair. Checking through is quite good. Thinking I will just check though. Here on the left I will range bet. And now we have a boat. And I think because no one's bet at all, I am gonna go for a small bet. We get snap called. And here on the left I am going to... No, I think I can just check. And I think we win this one. He checked again, so we'll win against an ace high or anything else, like even pocket deuces and pocket fours. So yes, he has ace high, so that's why I didn't want to turn it into a bluff on the turn. That was good. And ace 9 suited against this player who is a little bit more on the passive side. I'm not entirely sure if this is really a great one to do, but holy, now snap donks there. Okay, for half pot, call with our middle pair. He now checks, which is quite good. Good to see. I could bet, but I think I prefer a check. And we hope that he checks. He bets half pot. I mean, we have to be good 25% of the time. He called it a 3-bet pot, but it's half pot. Even though it's a 3-bet pot, doesn't necessarily mean that he's super strong. I kind of feel like he has a 10, but there is enough merge stuff in there that we could be good here. So I don't expect to win a lot, but I do expect this to be slightly profitable. And it is, because he had missed spades. There we go. So yeah, when he donked there on the flop, I did think spades or a 10, but could also have been like pocket 8s or so. And that's why in the end it just is a call there, even though... So the thing is, like, in 3-bet pots, when they bet half pot, it's different than single raise pots because there is just more money in there. But then again, because we're only playing 2NL, I do think that a lot of the time half pot is still what it means in a normal single raised pot, and that was why I thought that he will probably, well, not probably, but there's a good chance that he had either a bluff or something mergy. And yeah, I could have lost against some merges because it could have bet with a 10 there, but still I thought that I would definitely win at least 25% of the time. So my guess was more like 40-45% of the time. Maybe it's even more than that. 10 deuce is a fold. So yeah, on the right, we've been doing quite okay now. We've tripled our starting stack, although we did lose a bit there as well. So I think we lost probably half a stack and then we won 2 stacks. On the left, we're pretty much where we started, except that I had to rebuy a bit. I probably lost another half a stack or so there too, if not even more. Probably even more like towards the whole stack, because there were a couple of hands where I lost half my stack or a third of my stack. Okay, a7 suited on the button. We get called by the small blind. I should have actually gone bigger now. I just autopiloted it to 2.5 big blinds. This is not an amazing flop for my range really, or also not. He has a lot of hands that connect here, but I still can go for the c-bet. There are hands like pocket fours, for example, that could fold. He does check raise, and I think this just is a fold. If I have, like, if a 10 comes, he could have a queen there, so there's not that much I can do. I don't have a backdoor flush draw either. One overcard. Don't know the player, so he might be doing this with fairly strong range, even if it's a merge range of something like second pair or top pair. I would still not be doing super well against that. But I still think c-betting the flop is okay. Just range bet. There are hands that will fold. There are also weaker hands that will call, some draws. So I think that is fine. That's interesting. All in there, but they weren't too deep. But queen 4 suited. Nice. What is this? This is... We are on the button, but there is no small blind, right? So on the left there was a raise, a call, and then a squeeze to 10 big blinds, and both players folded. 8 deuce offsuit. We haven't seen you in a while after I had it 3 times in a row earlier. So yeah, just to say, if you have a question, you type it in there, and I don't reply straight away. The reason is that you are a bit on a delay, because I obviously don't want to show my live cards while I'm playing a hand. So there's like a 2-minute delay, and then sometimes I also miss the chat, don't see it straight away, and that's why then sometimes I will only see your questions a bit later. I will answer all of them, but just to say. Okay, king 4 suited, very marginal against this guy. Gonna fold it, and here king queen off. I'm also gonna fold to the squeeze. Now this guy donks tiny. He min clicks it. He snap calls. This is how 2NL goes. He donks tiny again. He min clicks again. He calls again. Okay, ace jack is good enough for me to raise, and here all in, and nines and queen 10. Wow, he did all of that with Queen 10, and then the guy flopped the set. That's incredible. So squeezing with pocket nines is fine there. The Queen 10 was super loose there. Okay, and this guy now cold 4-bet. It's the third time today that I get cold 4-bet. And obviously I have to fold, especially when he makes it that big. It was a marginal 3-bet already. That's the thing. We block aces, we block ace jack, but when we have aces, then just everyone folds. And yes, we block aces even heavier, but then we don't block jacks, then we don't block kings, and we don't block queens. Yeah, really annoying. But what can we do? Just keep cool, continue streaming. And I'll have a sip of water, because it's important to stay hydrated. But I can still fold while I'm drinking. Okay. Back we are. Ready to fold. Now we have this guy limping. I have 7-8 suited. I'm going to fold. Just too early position for that. Cutoff would have been okay, but this no. Okay, this guy seems to be using GTO sizing and just might be one of the better players. Unless it's maybe a bot. No, I don't think it is. No, he is a decent player, I think, for 2NL at least, from what I've seen so far. Okay, let's check our Jack 6 suited in a 3-way pot. We do have top pair. I am going to bet this one small. Think I can get called by a lot of hands. Going to go and bet it again, this time 2/3, and this time he folds. But I do think there's still plenty of hands that call, even twice maybe. So yeah, that's the one thing that I keep telling people, just don't slow play your hands. And yes, this wasn't a big hand worthy of slow playing, and yes, you could definitely check there as well, but just bet. In these player pools where players are not super aggressive, just bet your good hands. And against a guy who limped into the pot, you don't have to get cute and check and hope that he will then start bluffing with his 9 high. is a poster. If we're lucky, we'll see a free flop. I mean, it's not that free because I paid a big blind, which is worth a whole 2 cents. Okay, Queen 10. We can raise this one. I'm gonna raise a bit bigger. Firstly, because we're in late position, and secondly, because we're up against weaker opposition. However, this guy now 3-bets us, and he is quite passive and quite tight. So this is not amazing, but we are quite deep, and we have a suited hand, and we're in position, and we flop absolutely nothing. So this was a waste of 7 big blinds. Definitely going to check back. Now we have a gut shot. And he bets. So he bets quite small. I don't know if we can. It's close again, but with a gut shot I am gonna call. And now we even have second pair. Let's see what he does and whether we should turn this into a bluff or not. So do I think he can definitely have a lot of ace-x hands. Well, when he goes that big, he probably has a really good hand anyway, so now we're just gonna fold. I don't think he would turn anything into a bluff there. He might even have pocket kings with a king of clubs. He might have a set that he overplayed. But yeah, why did we have to get our gut shot on the turn and him betting so small there? Had the gut shot not come and had he not bet so small, I would have been out of the hand. And same pre-flop, to be fair. You should normally make it 12-ish big blinds and maybe 10. That's why I called with my queen 10 suited in position. King 6 versus King 7. So I'm just making some notes here. This guy limped King 6 offsuit on the button. Ooh, that was a cooler on the left here. Boat versus straight. Okay, there is a raise. With this hand, I am happy to 3-bet in position to isolate him. But this guy cold calls our 3-bet in the small blind. And Evil Monkey just jams. Great. This is the 4th time now that we're getting cold 4-bet. Here I'm gonna raise it up to 3 big blinds with ace queen. Bad nickname calls. Do we have any notes? No, we don't have any notes on him. I am going to go with a small bet here. Basically range betting. I'm going to check this one and then bet big on the river or bluff catch. Not the greatest card, but now I can go quite big. I have the ace of diamonds. If he has an ace, he will call. And what does he have? We don't know. We have to fold here on the right. We don't have to, but we elect to. King 9 is a fold. Interesting flop here. Ace, king, jack with 2 clubs. Just checking with the hand here. It's weird because I won like 10 big blinds or so in that hand, and I only have 104. I don't quite understand that. Where did the other 6 big blinds or so go? Weird stuff. Five, 3. Well, thank God there is a 3-bet. Don't have to call. Okay, last half hour. Come on, I want some big hands, something to talk about, something to write home about. Jack 10 off. As tempted as I am in early position, no. It's called Let Me Check, but he wants to raise quite a bit. Okay, this guy limps again under the gun this time. folds to us. No reason to raise. We are already isolated almost. I mean, yes, we have 3 players in the hand, but still. Don't need to raise with 9 high. Let's start with a check, see what he does. It doesn't do much. And now we think we can go for the double barrel here, starting with 2/3, and then depending on the river we can go bigger. Okay, he does call. I mean, this is pretty bad. But he just folded. What? Or did I win with 9 high? I'm confused now. How did I win this one? He just folded. Oh, that's good. She just folded and I won with 9 high. Excellent. Did not expect to see that. Mm, 7-6 suited. This is very marginal. I'm gonna do it just because we're on the stream and we haven't played many hands. But it's very marginal with this rake anyway, and I would have called the 3-bet but out of position to 8 big blinds. No. So, yep, that's why it is a marginal hand. King 3 off on the button will be a fold. Eight 3, that's the close cousin of the 8 deuce. 10-4, not much better either. And now, I mean, yes, there is a razor, but this guy, we know he's quite passive. We can isolate him, even with a hand as weak as Jack 10 off. So he might even fold pre-flop. No, he calls, but we are gonna go. And now he donk bets half pot. Okay, I don't love this, but I am going to call because this is a card that I quite like. But he still bets half pot. Does he do this with an 8, really? Normally I'd expect him to just slow down now. I mean, my idea was to now blast, but I will give up now. So I've wasted some money, yes, but I still think normally when he donks half pot there on the flop, yeah, it's like 7s or so. And then when the king comes, he normally slows down, and then I can put pressure on him. But he then bet half pot again on the turn, and that kind of made me a bit suspicious. Okay, so here we have a raise and we have a 3-bet. We have ace queen suited. Alas, we have to fold. Jack 10 again, but this time I'm gonna fold. these guys have. Can we see a showdown? Overbets this river. Interesting. And 2 folds. Unfortunately, no showdown. Pocket sevens. Okay, bad nickname raises now, and there is a call. Could go either way. I am gonna call now because I am on the button and I have position, and the big blind calls as well, so 4 ways to this flop. Unfortunately, not very good for us. It checks through, but I'm not going to stab it. Taking my very basic equity there. And now this guy bets pot. So that means I am out, no matter what happens. So we're all out. Didn't fancy bluff catching there against a pot-sized bet from a rather passive player. Ooh, aces versus queens. Shame. I actually like the guy with the queens there. But at least the guy with the aces was short stacked, so the damage wasn't that big. Didn't value bet the river. The guy with the ace. Not really playable. 10-5 off and 8-7 off, also quite very marginal. Yeah, not gonna call against a button raise. Pocket threes now against this guy who is quite aggressive, but this is a fold in the small blind. Sadly, we've lost both of these weaker players now on the right table. Now we're only three-handed again. But normally these tables do fill up within a few minutes. And now we have pocket kings on the big blind, but that's good that there is a raise. So I am going, we are super deep, so I'm going to make this one 14.5. Calls, and of course there is the ace. And now we have to start with a check, range check. I am going to check this turn again. And now on this river, I am going to bet. Question is how big. Probably doesn't have a lot, so I can't overbet. Still gonna go 2/3 because I don't have much time, and we get the call, and we are not good. Look at this, 8-5. What? 8-5 of diamonds. My goodness, my goodness. And look at this. What's this now? Why does he have the button, not me? This is a raise. So are we heads up now? I mean, you couldn't make it up, could you? Like that. Okay, now it's correct here with a button. Right, and we're not on the button, so we are just gonna fold this one. We are getting 4-bet by this guy. And this is close already. I'm definitely going to get it in, but I am going to call. And now that we have top 2 pair, we will have to go with it. If he has aces or kings, which is quite unlikely anyway, I am going to check this one. But now that he checked again, I am going to bet something like 18 big blinds. And he jams, and I obviously have to call it off. And he does have pocket kings. Okay, well, yeah, that's the thing now. Like, what can I do? Like, that's why I said the ace-king pre-flop was already marginal, kind of, the call of the 4-bet at 2NL. But then when you hit the ace and the king there, there's not much you can do. Here we hit a straight. And you fold. That's what happens. So yeah, once he shoves there on the turn after I bet, there is not much I can do with ace king. I just absolutely don't believe that I can fold top 2 pair there. Like, yes, he probably has aces or kings, but then again, I really block those. There's only one combo of each. Then again, he did 3-bet, he did 4-bet pre. But still, I think that is okay. Here I'm going to double barrel this one. He calls, and now I am going to go quite big. This is a heads up pot. Great, we win it with our triple barrel. He just keeps folding. Pocket deuces. Okay, now I'm just going. Well, no, I am still going to range bet this one. Well, he checks. Now I will check as well. And when he bets almost half pot on this river, he would have to have a missed club draw that he bets there, or he has an ace. I mean, it's quite close. I'm just gonna call here because I only have to be good like 24% of the time or so. And he had nothing, didn't even have a flush draw. Excellent. So it's good that I called. Okay, he now bets small. I'm betting big. Okay, I do not love this one. Ooh, this is interesting. I am going to c-bet. Right, so he's check raising me on this board, which is quite weird. I am going to call once and then see what he does on the turn. He does check. So let's check behind. Okay, here he on the right, I'll just check my ace high and I will check it again. And now he bets big. And here this guy bets about half pot. Shall I turn this into a bluff? I mean, here I'm going to fold, and here, can I turn this into a bluff? I can turn this into a bluff and go all in. Because I can credibly rep the king there, having been the 3-better pre-flop, and his check raise on the flop, and his small donk on the river. Not donk, but like half pot bet. It's not that small, but still, is just not like. I do think that he doesn't have a king, and if he has something like 10s or 9s or 8s, he will fold. But he does make the call with a jack. Look at that. Whew, wow. And here we are going to overbet with trip 5s. So he check raised me with queen jack, and then he hit the jack, and then he called on the river. Wow. Okay. And here on the right, do we have another street of value? I think we do in a heads up pot. And I'm gonna overbet this one again because I think a queen will pay me off. But whatever he had, he doesn't pay me off. So here, when I have it, they don't pay me off. And in the other one where I shoved with a bluff there, I got called. But that's how it happens. I still think it's okay. Like, I would expect him to fold that hand. Would definitely expect him to fold queen jack a high percentage of the time when I shove there. Overbets this river. I have king high. I'm not interested. Ace king. Okay, and our options sit out next big blind. Okay, poker deuces. raises. King 9 off is a call. Check. Bet small. I wish I had a heart here, but I'm still going to go for the check raise. Does call. Well, that's just not a good card. Now he has the range advantage. But now we do have a 9 top pair. Of course, if he has an 8, we lose. But if he could have 7, 6s, 5s, 4s, 3s, or ace high. So I expect him to call with all of those, but he now raises me. And when he raises me like that, I have to be good just over 33% of the time, say 35% of the time. Does he bluff 35% of the time here? What would he call with on the flop to then bluff the river? He would call with the heart draw, and maybe with some queen jack of clubs with a backdoor, but yeah, there are some bluffs, but I think overall he could have... I'm just gonna fold it. I think this one's very close, because he can have some bluffs there when I make it small. Okay, well, I was gonna sit out next big blind, but for some reason now I'm small blind. And here I can get rid of this table. Yep, you want to get out of it. Okay, so this is it. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.